Hello, dear ones. I'm doing a sound check. Please let me know how the volume's coming in. I thought this was going to be a silent meditation, and then I just feel so moved to speak. So I'm using a new computer, so I'm doing a sound check. How is the volume coming in? If someone could please let me know. Okay, well, I'm going to assume it's coming in really good. I just want to say hi. I've missed everyone. And I've had some computer issues. I'm using my backup computer. I've had some personal regulation going on. And I've had a really deep birth, death, rebirth, really. It started, I got in a debate with a dear friend of mine who's a Christian. Not your typical Christian, very, very, I don't know how to say it, open-minded, very focused on connection and communion with God over and above um, sort of ideas that the connection with God was more important. And got in a really heated debate. and this person was so convinced, and I very rarely debate people. I don't find it, hey, Forever 11 everything. I don't find it a good use of my time, or I don't find it helpful for me or them, but something just seized me, for better or for worse, and I just fiercely argued, and I wouldn't back down. And finally, they said, "You know what? You're right." So in essence, I won the debate, but I felt awful afterwards. Thanks, Arena. Okay, let me try one thing that might help with the sound, and you let me know if it gets better. Backup computer, different location. I'm hoping that's a little better. So I won the debate, but I felt awful, and I owe this person an apology, but also I was like, what did I accomplish there? Was anything really accomplished? And there was kind of this lingering resentment of, well, this person was so convinced they were right. They were so dogmatic and so, um, and then I was able to really look at myself. Okay, good, that helped. Huh? Thanks. And I really looked at myself in the mirror. And what I realized is that this resentment I had towards this person for being dogmatic was actually really about me. That many, many of my spiritual beliefs were not things that I knew directly. Were things that I believed, and there's nothing wrong with belief, but that I believed, and then I said, oh, well, they're absolutely true. And many of these were things about, Bruno Gröning. Bruno Gröning has spoken about, and I've spoken about many of Bruno Gröning's ideas, which I haven't directly experienced. Some of them I have. I've experienced many healings on this path. So I know that's true in my direct experience. And but there's many things that actually, oh no, how bad of an echo is it? I'll try speaking a little more softly. Thank you. Um, many of the things I've spoken about of Bruno's teachings, I haven't directly experienced myself. There are things that I trust to be true. Um, and so I really had this, I've been really having this intense sorting through of what are the things I know like just a fact. I can't fully explain how, but I know for a fact that spiritual healing happens. I've experienced it too many times. I know too many other people who have. Exactly how it happens, I can only sort of share, some of what Bruno has said about that. Um, so I've just been in this really deep sorting through. What do I know is a fact, and what is something that I trust, and what is something that I believe? And I'll give you an example. So I know for a fact that spiritual healing is possible. I've experienced it in my own body, and I've experienced it too many times. There's really, like, it's not something I have to think about. That doesn't mean I don't have my moments of doubt or like, oh, that thing's not going to heal. No, but I know that is a fact. Uh, and really, no one could convince me out of that fact. And uh, I don't feel the need to try and convince anyone of that. I do feel the need to share the idea and let people know about the idea, but it's kind of like I don't feel the need to convince people that water is wet. I feel comfortable in that. That's a fact for me. So that's sort of my understanding of something that is just a fact for me. Now, what's something that I trust? Through reflecting on Bruno's teachings and through reflecting on other religious teachings, I just have absolute trust that God is all good and only good. That's not something I can prove. That's not something that I've experienced directly, but it's something that I implicitly trust. I also implicitly trust that everyone and everything will be saved or redeemed. I would say maybe that's more something that I believe or that I have faith in. So there we go. So and that I trust in the. We'll talk about everyone being saved in a moment. I trust in the goodness of God for a couple of reasons. One is I've really reflected on Bruno's teachings. I've really taken them into my heart, and I get a yes. Yes, that's true. The other reason why I trust that is when I tune in, I just I feel such goodness. When I get out of my mind and into my direct experience and I seek communion and connection with God, all I feel is goodness. Peace at the worst, but usually goodness and joy. And so I've taken that fact and then I've looked at Bruno's teachings on God and looked at other traditions' teachings, and so that's something I trust. It's not. It's not. Doesn't have the same weight as the fact of spiritual healing does for me, but it's very real to me that God is completely trustworthy. But it's not as solid as the fact of spiritual healing. And then something that I have faith in would be what's often called universal reconciliation. The idea that everyone and everything will be saved. Um, I haven't, obviously that's not something I haven't seen that, I haven't experienced that, but it's something that, based on my experience of spiritual healing and based on my direct experience of what God feels like, and then combining that with having studied Bruno's teachings, having studied the early teachings of Christ. Hey, Magdalena, the early Christians were universalist. Early Christians believed that was the good news. And so when I take that plus my felt experience of God, plus my direct experience of spiritual healing, so that's something I have faith in. I can't prove it. In pink, yes. I can't prove it. I haven't experienced it. Uh, and yet it's something that I have faith in. So I've been going through this sorting through process, and it's been very rich. It hasn't been easy because I literally set aside everything. I said, okay, what is true? I really want to know what is true. I don't want to live based on belief anymore. I can't. I can't. Like Like if you're hungry, you need food. Like you can't eat the recipe, or you can't eat the you know you can't eat the container that the food is in. It won't satisfy. And I really just got to the point where it's like I need the real thing. And so I really just set aside everything. And as the weeks go on, I'll share more. But that's kind of my bottom line: is that all God is all good, and or that's the bottom line I'm coming to. Completely trustworthy, and I'm happy to say, it started as I've talked about belief or faith, trust, and then like facts. Things that you just know absolutely. And so it started as a belief or something I had faith in. And universal reconciliation is again something I have belief and faith in. I really do trust in it as well. But anyway, it started out. Bruno is really the is in Bruno's teachings. He said we can't expect anything bad from God. And I really thought about that. I was like, well, if that's true, then God is all good. I've really been sitting with that, and it started out as a matter of faith or belief. And now it's really coming into a place of trust based on my experience of God through tuning in. And and I read this description of God as the infinitely merciful, or the all merciful. And when I read that, something from within me, I'm about to cry, something from within me said, oh my God, that's the clearest description of the goodness of God I've ever heard. Infinitely merciful, or all merciful. So, as my computer, I get my main computer online, back up and running. It's been, talk about computer regularly. Ay caramba. And I hope to be doing more of these. And thanks for the feedback on the sound, everyone. My apologies that it's less than, it's a little bumpy. It's really great to see some familiar names and some new ones. Welcome. Yes, the soul needs food. God is only good. And what I want to say is that a mental belief can only take us so far. It only could take me so far. But this feeling of trust that's arising within me. It used to be, oh, God is only good. And now it's just, God's completely trustworthy. Like I'm starting to rest in that. And part of what happened is I had kind of made Bruno Gröning into a religion. And that's the other thing. I've been focusing too much on Bruno and not enough on God. Bruno Gröning said, I'm just a signpost pointing people in the right direction. Let's think about that. A signpost, so you're walking down the street, you don't know which way to go, and you see a signpost that's pointing in the right direction, well, then you walk in that direction. You don't like here's how to do, let's see, how to do this. So here's the street, and let's say that's the signpost. You walk up and you see the signpost, well, then you keep walking in the direction that it's pointing. Not that we forget about Bruno Gröning, but Bruno Gröning is not the goal. Or that's my understanding. I kind of turned Bruno Gröning into a religion. Well, Bruno said it, so it's true. And again, and then just focusing too much on Bruno and not enough on God. So, birth, death, rebirth, over and over. Learning, learning, learning. Bruno did say this is a school, and I'm pretty convinced that's true. Thanks so much for joining in, everyone. I hope me sharing where I'm at on my journey is helpful for others. And let's sit for a minute. Thanks everyone for joining in. Wish people a beautiful, beautiful